one. So I figured today we would just kind of talk about the difference between movement and exercise. As one of the Fitme habits, it is to move our body intentionally every single day, movement or exercise. And it's really going to be super specific to, where you're at, where you're starting, what you're currently doing. But I think it's good to just kind of remind ourselves like what the difference is. And movement is literally just any way that we move our body. It could be chasing the kids around the house to get them ready for school since school's starting, mowing the lawn, taking the dog for a walk, carrying in the groceries, literally just any way that we move our body, which includes exercise too. But exercise is really something that is, whether you want to call it like working out or training, is something structured, planned to elicit some type of specific goal. So a lot of us here are doing like Tory exercises to really move out of pain, to be able to move better, have our bodies feel better. Some of us are doing strength training, which I program for you. So it's focusing on building muscle. You might be able to hear the dogs in the background there. They might see something outside. So I'm sorry if you hear barking here soon. But strength training to be able to get stronger, build muscle. Maybe if you're into cardio and you're into running, I know a couple ladies in Fitme are into running marathons. So maybe that's focusing in on running your mile in a certain amount of time. I wouldn't know because I've never ran one, but it's, it's what you're trying to do to get a specific change in your body and what you want to accomplish. But usually like one of the first places to start is just looking at your movement. Like, what are you currently doing? Are you moving your body every day, or are you super sedentary where, maybe you work a desk job and you're just sitting on your butt all day? So maybe the first place for you to start is focusing on just getting more movement in. And a lot of us like to, focus in on steps, go for walks to do that. But there are so many ways to get movement in. And I think it's just finding what makes sense for you in the season that you're in. I think one of the big things, that I've learned from others is just like movement is medicine. Like moving your body will always make you feel better. You'll usually regret it if you don't, but you never usually regret it if you do. And a lot of the times we end up feeling better if we just get out and move our bodies. And I know we talked about it on one of the other calls. I can't remember what week it was, but your movement doesn't have to look the same every single day and or week. And this comes with like really getting to listen to your body. So, maybe if you're newer and you haven't listened to your body as much, it'll take some practice. But usually where this like comes up is if you're coming home from like a vacation, maybe you're sick, or your sleep is really crappy and you're just feeling like exhausted and tired. And maybe you had planned to do Tory workouts that day and you just kind of feel super low on energy. Maybe you didn't. I know this happens to me usually if I don't eat the best, or if I go out to eat and something doesn't agree with me, my energy the next day is in the tank, my sleep suffers. So I've learned to pay attention to those things where I'm like, all right, maybe strength training today is not the best move. Because when I've learned, I have to learn lessons the hard way, but I've gotten hurt from not listening to my body, just trying to push through. So there's no shame in changing whatever you had planned. And I think one of the cool things is that if like you are feeling really tired and exhausted and maybe you had exercise scheduled, you can always default to just moving your body. So I know for me, like usually I always to move my body is usually strength training and walks. But this weekend I was with my sisters and we actually went out and played tennis, which was so much fun, even though I stink at tennis. I don't quite have the like finesse to, I'm more just like whacking it everywhere. But it was a really fun way to move my body, and I was tired and I was sweating. It was hot. But it was really like an awesome way to get out and move. I always like playing things like volleyball, or I'll play soccer, when I was doing that. And that's really like how I enjoy moving. So I figured it'd just be cool for us to all like chime in and talk about the different ways that, we move our bodies, that movement that we actually enjoy doing.
That we enjoy doing. Actually, I enjoy walking. Julie calls me like at 10:30, 3 or 4 times a week. And
like over there.
Yeah, she's cracking up. So today it's like 10:30 and she doesn't call. So I just go for my walk thinking, oh, she's not gonna call. But she did. And then I think Friday, Coach Leah said, you need to add some strength training when you're going to your walk, do some step ups, do some squats, and do some push-ups. So I'm talking to her, trying to do step ups and running out of breath. And I'm like, you talk. But I did my step. And then when I was walking back, I was done talking to her. One of the mowing guys in our edition stopped and said, good job doing your step ups. And I'm going, oh man, I thought nobody was looking. And and he said, no, I was a PE teacher for 45 years. He goes, those benches are great for step ups. And I'm like, he goes, I'm so glad they're being used. So that was cute. Funny. Yeah, that was cute. But I don't know if I enjoyed it though.
But it's beneficial and it'll help you feel better.
Yeah. And it was amazing because Coach Lee is like, we need to get those muscles back. And I'm thinking, oh, they're there. I walk all the time. But those are different muscles. Mm-hmm. And I could really feel it. So I'm not sore, but it's like, oh, I used those today. So it's a good sore. So.
Yeah, that's definitely the good sore where you're like, okay, I haven't done this in a while. I can tell that I worked out, but not like debilitating where you can't sit right without being in pain.
Yeah. And then when I had Coach Christy and was doing workouts, she's like, you need to up your water. So when you're working intensely, you need to drink more water than you normally do. So I don't think I'm to that point, but water doesn't hurt.
Nope, definitely doesn't. I know I usually, if I have like a day where I'm doing anything cardio intensive, which is usually soccer, I always am like drinking more water just because I'm like a sweater. Like as soon as I get moving, I'm sweating. So I know I always am adding more water, especially with how hot and humid it's been here. It's been rough. Julie's out there getting her walk. It's funny that
I am.
That the sisters call each other, because me and my sisters do the same thing where I'm like, oh, I have this dedicated there. I don't think they're walking when I'm talking to them, but just to catch up, to like keep my mind so I'm not thinking about it,
She's my therapist. So I started walking on my breaks at work when I started this new job a couple years ago. And because I was so stressed out that I needed to get away from my desk, because the longer I stayed there, the slower my productivity got. So I started doing it that way. And then Terry had joined Fitme. It was probably a couple years ago. And she was like, hey, let's get on this 10,000 steps kick. And I was like, okay. So I walked my 2 15-minute breaks, and then, I get an hour lunch. And if I have anything left over from my lunch, I walk that. And then I walk usually after dinner. So that's my movement, and I enjoy it because I love getting outside. And I live out in the country. We're in a new subdivision, but it's surrounded by cornfields and pastures with cows. I see cows every day. So, it's a fun thing. But that's where I get my movement in. And then starting with Fitme, then I have my workouts, which I got those fitness bands.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think those are the neatest thing. Greatest thing since sliced bread, because I can feel like I get a workout, but I don't have to do weights. It's just the resistant bands. And they're a lot of fun. I like doing them. So, and I sweat. So that's good. I know I'm getting a good workout. So
I love the bands. They're a great way to instill like strength training and everything because of the resistance.
Yeah.
And some of those things are like harder than they think. You start to do them and you're like, oh, this isn't too bad. And then it starts burning.
Yeah. I switched from the 10-pound band to the 20-pound band thinking, oh, that 10-pound was so easy. I went to the 20 and I went, everything was good till I went to go do like the Y stretch,
Yeah.
pulling it up above my head. And I was like, oh my God. I guess maybe I'll go back to the 10 for that one.
You aren't alone.
Either that or they're just not long enough. It doesn't feel like they're long enough that I think they were. I mean, it was only twice as much, but it was fine for every other exercise that I was doing except for the one over the head. So
yeah,
I just got wimpy arms, I guess.
And the muscle you're working with that are little ones in your back. So like some of the bigger muscles, like if you're doing it with like your legs or maybe your arms, but you're doing that with like your shoulders, usually a lot of it a little bit weaker there because I'm always doing it too. I'm hunched and curled. Then those muscles are usually weak. So don't be too hard on yourself. That's to go really heavy just because they're so tiny, like tiny little muscles.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. You made me feel better.
Good. And I like that you walk, after your meals. I know I usually try to do that. That always helps me. I feel like digest better. I just feel better and not like, like my food sitting there.
Well, yeah. And also coming off of being diabetic, I mean, that's one way of getting my blood sugar down and doing it in a way where it's easy for me. I mean, even just a 15-minute walk can bring your blood sugar down drastically. So to keep mine in check, I do that. Because if I don't, then I feel lethargic. I just feel like a blob, sitting on the couch. I'd rather take a walk and then feel tired sitting on the couch instead of feeling like a blob sitting on the couch. So
you're putting that the food you just ate, all that energy to good use.
Yeah, definitely.
We got Jen and Marlena. Marlena's usually driving home at this time, so.
Yeah, I'm picking up my son right now. But one of the things I was going to say is I never really thought of walking as exercise, but I walk every day. And then I was doing strength training on top of that. But when I did the Fitme Marathon week, Coach Leah stopped the strength training. And I was thinking, well, how am I going to just walk? But I was walking 4 to 5 miles a day. And I felt like that was a lot of exercise for me, doing that much walking. I'm on a call. Just got in the car. Here, hold the water. But so then after the Fitme Marathon, I got sick and all I could do was, just walk. And so I figured, well, that's movement. It was like 20-minute walks and that was it. But it's been so hard getting back into the strength training since then because I haven't really done it consistently. I've done the walking, but I feel like I need to do, which I'm going to start this week or next week. back up with strength training. But yeah, I never really considered walking as exercise until that week, and I could really feel it like in my whole body.
And you definitely like increased your movement, right? Because you said you weren't walking, that much to start. So your body was kind of probably used to what you were doing. And then on top of that, that was just more additional exercise, and doing it every single day at that, capacity can definitely like make you feel tired. And, one of the things that you mentioned, Marlena, like being sick, like, at least you're moving your body in some type of way. Cause even when we're sick, like still getting out and going for a walk and like getting fresh air, even if it's just for 10 minutes, can make you feel better. Cause sometimes, your body like aches when you're sick and you're laying there and you're like, oh my God, my body hurts from laying here so much. And then even just 5 minutes still is a way to get your body moving. And then you build back up from there.
Yeah.
But me and Marlena will be doing strength training together later this week, getting that all set up. That's
so exciting. I'm kind of scared, Gabby.
Don't be scared. You got this. I know you do.
Well, I'm kind of like right there where she is with the being sick thing. So I was doing like workouts 4 or 5 days a week, going to like this Camp Gladiator workout, and it's a lot of like strength training and cardio and just kind of like a different mixture of things. And then I would be doing my beach body workouts the days that I wasn't doing that. And I just had this like heart episode, and I've just been feeling completely whooped. Today I decided that I was going to go for my first walk, and I actually feel like 100 times better than I did before I went on the walk. I was really nervous that my heart rate wasn't going to come back down, and like I was going to go into this whole thing, but it felt good to like get away from my kids for 30 minutes and it was quiet, and I got to get all sweaty, and it felt like I accomplished something. I mean, it wasn't, my hour-long go crazy workout, but it felt really good to just move. And it's that whole like listening to my body, right? So like as much as I miss my friends from all those things and like the community and all of that, like we're not there yet. So just stringing together a couple 30-minute walks, just trying to add a little bit of mileage, add a little bit of minutes, and just kind of like make it happen. I like the idea of walking after you eat. I might steal that because I have a desk job. So I like that idea, but just getting back into the swing of things. I was inactive for like 2 weeks and I forgot what it feels like to sweat. So it was nice today.
I feel like that's an awesome like mindset and place to start, because at least you're moving your body and it feels good. And it's not something that like, because obviously you said something with your heart, like you don't want to do anything that could cause you to feel worse or make it worse by trying to go too hard, too quick, too fast. And then you're like, all right, well, I kind of got to pull it back again.
Yeah, 30 minutes today was like good. I probably could have gone a little farther, but I said, you know what, let's not set myself farther back by trying to push it too much. So let's just take it, 10 minutes at a time, see how I feel. And it felt really good. I had to share it on Instagram and a couple other pages, 1 out of 50. And even if it's, 30 minutes broken up throughout the day, 10 minutes when I get to work, 10 minutes after my lunch, 10 minutes when I get home, so be it. Like I need to move. It's good for my mental health, which is part of the whole heart problem anyway. So I'm only doing myself a disservice if I don't get out there and move. And it's weird how your perspective changes, because before I was like, workout, whatever. But now I'm like, yay, I get to move. So just having that like mind shift is helpful too.
I think that's just an awesome way to look at it, where you're like, all right, I get to do these walks today. Like, I feel good. I'm excited to do them. I wish because I used to have the like 9 to 5 job where I would sit all day and when we were in the office, and I remember feeling so guilty if I got up from my desk. Like, people would think I'm like not working.
Yeah.
And it was just that like constant pressure to always like be doing something at the desk and never taking a break. And it definitely caused some like health things for me because I was so stressed at work. And TMI, but I couldn't go to the bathroom for literally like a month because I was so stressed out.
Yeah.
Just like hearing that, I'm like, I wish I would have taken that 15 minutes for myself, which I never did.
I have been working very diligently on boundaries. So considering that I literally put myself in the hospital over being stressed, now whether it's work related, life related, all of that, I mean, I'm sure it's like a combination, but nothing is worth my health. So if I'm not there for 10 minutes, you'll survive. You'll be okay.
Julie has an excellent work balance life because she does take the 15 minutes for herself and then her lunch and then the 15 minutes in the afternoon. And that's why she's getting her steps. Gotta brag on you, sis.
That's needed. I mean, it came as a necessity because when we got sent home for COVID, I work in the same office as my husband. So that was just way too much togetherness. I mean, it got to the point that I was like, you're typing too loud. I mean, that's how bad it was. And I was just like, I got to get out of here and you need to get me away from you because I can't function. So, I mean, I did it for my mental health first and my physical health second. So it was just, it made me feel better. And so I just kept doing it. And I did it, the whole time that we didn't go back to the office until, we've only been back a year. So we didn't go back until June of 2021. And we went home in March of 2020. So that's a long time to be together with your husband all the time. I love him, but he drives me crazy. So, but made me feel better. And I did it up until it was too cold. So that was one thing I liked. I mean, the stark cold weather in Wisconsin. And sorry, I'm going to the hill. I'm a little out of breath. But I just put on my coat and my stocking cap, and then I go on my merry way.
I like it. I know. Every time I don't feel like walking, I hear Leah in my head. She goes, no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothes. So I'm like, okay, I'll put on my boots. I'll put on my rain jacket.
That's why we go to Florida.
Yeah, here in Jersey, we get like all the seasons. So we didn't really have too bad of a winter. I will say, not a ton of snow. So just cold, but not too snowy. But there have been times where I've put on my snow boots and I've like walked in the snow, honestly, just to get outside. Because working from home, sometimes I'm like, I never get out of this place. Like, I have to get the hell out of here. So I understand how Julie feels, because me and my boyfriend are home all the time. So I need my walk for for some silence as well. All right, ladies. Well, I thought it was a good discussion today, just talking about, all the different ways that we can move our body and the different ways that we can get it in. And I think one of the big things is like, continue to listen to your body. It's something that takes time to listen to, from someone who's, has to learn a lesson the hard way every single time before it sinks in. Yep. Like, listening to your body. And if you are super exhausted or tired or you didn't sleep good. Like there's no shame in not maybe doing what your scheduled exercise is. It may be just doing some other thing to move your body. I know I've done that where there's just been nights where I just can't sleep or I toss and turn all night and I just feel so drained the next morning. And I've learned to pay attention to that where I'm like, if I go work out, I'm going to get hurt. So instead, I'll just decide to, if I want to go to the gym, maybe I'll just do something super low impact, like, I don't know, walk on the treadmill. Or I'll just go for walks that day and move my training to a different day. And, you know, I know we've talked about like plan A, B, C, D or whatever, but I feel like listening to my body is one of those things that I've learned the hard way. But now that I do listen to it, I just feel so much better. And it doesn't make me feel bad because I'm not getting it in. Like you said, Jen, you're like, all I can do right now is walking 30 minutes and listening. And that's what feels good. Where if you went and did like one of your workouts or your classes, you'd probably feel like really exhausted or run down. So like Christy says, live to train another day. So, you know, I always think of that too when I'm not trying to go so hard in the gym and pull it back and listen to my body. All right, ladies. Well, it was good chatting with you. I think this was a really good conversation. I now have to go let the dogs in there jumping at the door. So it was good chatting with you, and I will talk to you all next week.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Bye, guys. Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.